this video, you will learn the 10 best optimization methods for Marvel Rivals to make the game faster, get more FPS and performance, and fix FPS drops and stuttering issues. In the first method, we will disable full screen optimizations in Marvel Rivals because this feature can cause FPS drops, affect stability, and cause stuttering on some computers. First, you need to find the installation path of Marvel Rivals. To do this, open Marvel Rivals, then press Windows and G on the keyboard to minimize it. Now right-click on the taskbar and then click on Task Manager. Now select the Details section. Then under this search bar in the upper corner, type Marvel. Now right click on Marvel-Win64-shipping.exe and then click on Open File Location. After that, click on the address bar in the upper corner. Then you will see the drive letter where your Marvel Rivals is installed. Write it down because you will need it for the 7th method. Now find the Marvel-Win64-shipping file. Then right click on it. Now click on Properties. After that, select the Compatibility tab. Now check the box under Disable Full Screen Optimizations, and lastly, you can save the change by clicking Apply and OK. In the second method, you will enable Optimized Graphic Settings and set the High Performance GPU preference for Marvel Rivals to make your graphics card dedicate maximum power and performance for the game. First, click on the Windows icon in the lower left corner of the taskbar to open the Start menu. Now in the search bar, type Graphic Settings. After that, click on the corresponding option. Now make sure that Optimizations for Windows Games is enabled. Then click on Advanced Graphic Settings to expand it. Now make sure that Hardware Accelerated GPU Scheduling is enabled, and then disable the Variable Refresh Rate option. Now under Search this list, type Marvel Rivals. Once you find Marvel Rivals, click on it to expand the other options. Then under GPU Preference, select High Performance, and lastly, make sure that Optimizations for Windows Games is enabled. In the third method, you will set the High Performance Power Plan for Marvel Rivals because by default, Windows comes with the Balanced Power Plan enabled, and this power plan will make your PC use less power for energy efficiency, but to make your PC use its maximum power, you need to set the High Performance Power Plan. First, click on the Windows icon to open the Start menu. Now in the search bar, type powercfg.cpl. After that, click on the corresponding option. Now, if you have your processor's chipset driver installed, you will notice its power plans. If you don't have the chipset driver for your processor installed, I will leave a link in the description below to the Intel and AMD website where you can download and install the chipset driver. After that, you need to set the High Performance Power Plan from your processor. In my case, I have an AMD processor, so I will select AMD Ryzen High Performance. And lastly, if after installing the chipset driver, your processor's power plan doesn't appear, you can select the Windows default High Performance Power Plan. In the fourth method, you will create a dword value in Regedit to make the Marvel Rivals process run at high priority permanently. This will cause Windows to dedicate more hardware resources to Marvel Rivals and can increase FPS and fix FPS drops and stutters. First, click on the Windows icon to open the Start menu. Now in the search bar, type Regedit. After that, click on the corresponding option. Under this field, you will need to paste the address that I will leave in the description below. Now press Enter on the keyboard to access it. After that, you should right-click on the Image File Execution Options key, then click on New and Key. Now we will name this key the same as the Marvel Rivals process, which is Marvel-Win64-shipping.exe, and then press Enter on the keyboard to save it. Now right-click on the key that you've created, then click on New and Key. After that, name this key as Perf Options, and then press Enter on the keyboard to save it. Now you must right-click on the Perf Options key, and then click on New and dword 32-bit value. After that, you will see a new dword value in the upper corner. Then name it as CPU Priority Class, and then press Enter on the keyboard to save it. message. Now right-click on the CPU priority class keyword value and then click on modify, and lastly, inside of its data, you will type 3 to set high priority and then click on OK to save it. In the fifth method, you will reduce the scalability quality of Marvel Rivals within the graphics settings file. This will decrease the visual quality of the game, but may increase FPS on low-end PCs with low-end graphics cards. First, you must open the Run tool by pressing the Windows and R keys on the keyboard. Now, under Open, type the following address: %marvel/saved/config/Windows, and then click on OK to open it. Now you must right click on the GameUserSettings file, then click on Open With and Notepad. After opening the file on Notepad, locate the Scalability Group section. Now you will need to change the value of the following options to 1. This will set the quality of each to the lowest. And lastly, click on File and Save to save the changes. In the sixth method, you will enable the Windows Game Mode for Marvel Rivals. This will make Windows focus on gaming performance while you are playing. To enable it, click on the Windows icon to open the search menu. Now in the search bar, type Game Mode. After that, click on the corresponding option, and lastly, make sure that Game Mode is enabled. In the seventh method, you will optimize the drive where Marvel Rivals is installed to avoid corrupted files and make loading game assets faster. To do this, click on the Windows icon to open the search menu. Now in the search bar, type DFRGUI. After that, click on the corresponding option. Now you must select the drive where Marvel Rivals is installed. You can find out by following the steps in the first method. And lastly, after selecting the drive, click on Optimize to optimize it. In the eighth method, you will optimize the NVIDIA graphics settings for Marvel Rivals to make your graphics card run Marvel Rivals with maximum FPS and performance. First, right-click on the desktop, then click on Show More Options, and then NVIDIA Control Panel. After that, select the Manage 3D Settings section. Now look for Low Latency Mode, and then set it to Ultra to decrease the input latency in Marvel Rivals, which is the time required for the computer to read a key or button pressed on the keyboard and mouse. Then look for Power Management Mode and then set it to Prefer Maximum Performance. If you want to learn more about each of these NVIDIA options, I will leave a link to a video in the cards and in the description below. And lastly, you must save the changes by clicking on Apply in the lower right corner. In the ninth method, you will check the integrity of Windows system files and fix them if there are any issues, because corrupted system files can affect Marvel Rivals performance and make you lose FPS. To do this, first right-click on the Windows icon in the lower left corner of the taskbar, then you should click on Terminal Admin. After opening the terminal, before checking the integrity of the system files, you should first check and repair the Windows image file. This is important because the image file is used as a reference to fix any corrupted system files. Then type the following command inside the terminal: dism/cleanup-image/restore health, and then press enter to run it. Now just wait for the process to finish. After that, you can check and repair the system files using the Windows image file as a reference. Then type the following command inside the terminal: sfc/scan now, and then press enter again to run it. And lastly, you just need to wait for the process to finish, and it will tell you if there were any corrupt system files and if they have been fixed. In the 10th method, you will change the Marvel Rivals graphics settings to set the most optimized graphics settings for your computer to make the game run smoother. First, open Marvel Rivals. Now click on this gear in the upper right corner, and then click on Settings. Under Display Mode, select Full Screen. This will make your PC focus on gaming performance. Now we will test and compare the performance impact of each option under anti-aliasing and super resolution type. Based on the previous test, under anti-aliasing and super resolution type, set it to Epic TSR, under super resolution mode, set it to ultra performance, and under anti-aliasing, set it to medium. Now set NVIDIA Reflex low latency to enabled to reduce input latency, then scroll down and set limit FPS to disabled and set VSync to disabled as well, then scroll down to the graphics section. Now we will test and compare the performance impact of each of these options in the graphics section. Based on the previous test, change the following options to get more FPS. Global illumination set to SSGI, reflection quality set to off, model detail set to low, post-processing set to low, shadow detail set to low, texture detail set to high, effects detail set to low, and foliage quality set to ultra. And that was the video. If you want to boost and optimize performance in your games, you can subscribe to this channel and then always learn new methods when I upload new videos. Thanks for watching, see you in the next video.